Why hello there internet, I'm Connor from the Girl of Awesome, and today I'm reviewing Payday 3. Now I am a big fan of the Payday series, but I want you to keep in mind that I haven't played Payday 2 since my stream like 6 years ago. So any comparisons that I make to the previous game, just please keep in mind that my comparisons may be out of date. I also want to mention that I played this on the PC, so I can't comment on any experience for the other platforms. So if you've never played a Payday game before, then here's a brief description. The Payday games are 4-player online co-op first-person shooters, where you play as a crew of heisters. Every mission is your crew being hired to steal something. The series has always had an option for players to either complete the mission stealthily, or go in guns blazing, or more often than not, fail stealth and go guns blazing anyway. You do not need to play the previous games to know the story of Payday 3, as there is barely any story in the series at all. We'll get to the story later on, but if you haven't played a Payday game before, then you can jump in at 3. Although I do highly recommend Payday 2, as it currently has way more content than 3. You will encounter the first annoying problem of the game as soon as you load it up, as you are required to create a Nebula account, and I just really hate this. Lots of game companies have accounts that you can sign up for, but most of them are optional, and I find it strange that this doesn't use your Microsoft or Steam account to log in. It's a minor annoyance, but it's the very first thing you see launching the game, and it's a terrible first impression. Another problem, which is honestly killing the launch of the game, is that it is always online. You cannot play the game offline, or when the servers are down, which has been happening quite a bit for the past couple of days. For example, I got to the very end of a successful heist, just for the server to disconnect, and lose all my progress, and that absolutely killed me. The UI is also hit and miss. It takes a bit of getting used to, specifically on the loadout menu. The UI does not seem to remember where you left off. So every time you go back to a previous menu, it automatically selects the first option, even if you click the fourth option to go into another menu. It's just a minor thing like that which makes it a bit of an inconvenience. One UI change that I like is the mission select screen, as now it is linear, whereas in Payday 2 it was just random. So in Payday 2 it was difficult to know which missions were like early level missions or high end missions. So now it's in a straight line and it's a bit more easier to read. I do like the amount of customization in your build. So let's have a look at your loadout screen. You have a primary and secondary weapon. You unlock more weapons as you level up, and as you take weapons on missions with you, they gain experience separately. As the gun itself levels up, you gain access to more attachments and customization for it. With money that you get from completing heists, you can buy new weapons and equipment. You also have other gear and armour which is unlocked as you level up. Overkill weapons, these are a new addition. They are kind of like a kill streak reward from Call of Duty. As you get kills during a mission, you can spawn in your overkill weapon, but so far I've found them really disappointing, preferring my normal weapons. But the addition itself is a positive regardless. Finally, they have done something amazing with the skills, as you can apply skill points and unapply them at will. This allows you to create a very versatile build that you can change on the fly, and tied into that is a loadout preset. You can customize each loadout to change not just your equipment, but your skills. So for example, you can have a stealth build that has silent weapons and all the skills for a silent mission, and then another loadout which has heavy weapons and then all the skills to make you a tank. Right before a mission starts, you just pick the loadout you want, or customize it as you need. This is a massive improvement over other games, as you have so much control over your builds, and nothing is committed. You don't have to respec if you want to play a game differently, you can just create a preset. It's honestly such a huge positive for the game. To buy new equipment, you spend cash that you make from completing missions. I was concerned as there's kind of a premium currency, but there's no way to buy this currency with real money. As it is right now, you can only earn this premium currency from challenges, or converting in-game money to this premium currency. I get enough in-game money that I can make as much premium currency as I want, but certain weapons and cosmetics are locked behind this premium currency. I keep saying premium currency, but there are no microtransactions. But with this inclusion, it does make me worried that there will be some in the future. Right now there are only 8 missions in the game, which is a very small amount. You can complete the game in about 4 to 5 hours if you just power through. But to be fair, the Payday series is about repeating missions, as they do have variations, where NPCs or objects or objectives could be in different places. And don't forget there are 2 paths for 7 of the missions. A stealth path and a loud path. Depending on whether you're going sneaky or loud, the mission can be completely different. The mission can have completely different gameplay and objectives. It's about replaying missions in order to master them and then complete them on higher difficulties, while earning new gear and equipment. But even with all that, it is still a small amount of missions at launch. Before we get into the gameplay, I'll mention the lack of story. So first off, the dialogue both in and out of cutscenes, the plot, the voice acting, and the cutscenes themselves are just awful. The cutscenes are now just still 3D pictures, which feels really cheap. The dialogue sounds like it was written by a parody of a heist film, and the plot is so thin, it's just not engaging at all. Now I know the story is not the highlight of the Payday series, but it just feels wrong that they're willing to give it a try, but then put the least amount of effort into it. So let's get into the gameplay. First off, matchmaking is a little hit and miss right now. I said before that you can't play the game offline, but you can play it by yourself. It'll just be in an online lobby. It'll be like Left 4 Dead. The other team members will be controlled by an AI. The issue with this is that even though you're playing solo, it's still an online session. So if your internet drops, or if there's an issue with the server, then the match will just drop out. Since it's been launched, there has been quite a bit of issues with matchmaking and the servers in general. It's just for them being overloaded. One theory that I have is that there's a limited amount of matchmaking slots available. So when you create a solo match, it takes up one of those slots and just creates congestion for the servers. That's just a theory, but it makes it really annoying when you can't create a solo match because it's required to be in an online lobby. God, I hate the waiting. There we go. Before a mission starts, you can choose or edit your loadout. But one huge missing feature from Payday 2 is the heist map. You can still purchase equipment for a mission, for example a zipline, but without the map you have no idea where the zipline will go or if it will be useful for you. It's bizarre that they didn't bring the map back in this one. Okay, let's go over the stealth first. The stealth has improved a million times over from Payday 2. First off, as you start a mission you will be in civilian mode, where you can enter public places. In this mode you can do more than you could in Payday 2. Here you can pick locks without going into combat mode, but another great addition is that there are now different security levels in different areas. For example, if you're able to sneak into a staff area, you will be in a private zone, where the other staff members will ignore you, but guards and cameras will still detect you. If a guard detects you, then they will escort you out of these areas without any issues. This is a very nice addition, creating a middle ground for sneaking around. And then there's the secure areas, where everyone will be suspicious of you, and if they see you, they will immediately sound the alarm and arrest you. Guards can now hear and investigate sounds. This is great for distracting them, but they can also hear you running or jumping around. If you make enough distractions or cause enough problems, eventually the guards will go into a searching mode. This will break their patrol routes and they will then randomly search around the map. They don't seem to go out of searching mode, which I find a bit weird. I think like after a certain amount of time they should go back to normal. You can now grab NPCs and use them as a meat shield. This also allows you to precisely place hostages in safe places, or silently take out a guard. Hostage management is now much improved, as they are now far easier to move around, and you have infinite handcuffs. The detection meter in Payday 2 was all over the place, and it didn't give you an exact feel of how well you were sneaking around, as the meter would just jump around. Well, the detection meter is fixed here, and you have a full understanding of how well you are hidden. It also appears your equipment no longer affects your visibility. In Payday 2, if you carried heavier weapons and armour, then you were easier to detect. This seems to be no longer the case. Your equipment affects your movement speed, but not how well hidden you are. Stealth objectives usually involve hacking computers, finding gear cards, and finding high-level NPCs to open doors for you. When you're sneaking around, it's all about learning the patrol of guards, finding the right time to sneak past cameras, and figuring out the best way in and out of missions. Stealth has improved so much from the previous game, but probably a bit too much, as it can be a bit silly on how easy it is.
Let me go!
One issue is that not all interactable objects are highlighted. For example, I spent ages in one mission looking for an item, before I realised you can open the drawers of cabinets. I don't like that some items are highlighted and others are not. If you do get caught or just want to go loud, then the game turns into a horde mode, where the mission objectives will change from hacking and sneaking around, and change to usually burning or drilling your way into your objective. As you are breaking your way into the vault, or wherever you need to be, you will have to survive against waves of cops and SWAT, with only a few moments of calm between the waves. And if you take too long, then eventually you will be in a never-ending wave, until either you die or escape. Gunplay is excellent, weapons are satisfying to use, and there is a variety of different guns for different playstyles. Ammo, however, is very scarce, almost to the point where it's a problem. If you don't bring at least 2 ammo crates in, then odds are you'll run out of ammo only a short way into the mission. If I remember right, in Payday 2 your armor will recharge to 100% if you avoided damage after a few seconds. But now your armor is separated into chunks, so if you take too much damage at once, then you will only be able to recharge a section of your armor. You can however take in armor packs to restore your armor if you lost too much. There is a nice variety of enemy types, like tasers, ninjas and shield units. In Payday 2, some enemy types would only appear on harder difficulties, or if the heist had gone on too long. Now it seems that all enemy types will appear on normal difficulty at any time. The enemy types also have unique attacks and traps, which makes them feel a bit better than Payday 2, where they could only do one thing. Enemy AI, however, is really bad. They don't take cover, or they don't try tactics against you. The game relies on them overwhelming you with their numbers, as opposed to them being an individual threat. If you have bots on your team, their AI is fine as an extra gun. You can pass them loot to carry, but one thing that I'm desperate for is the ability to give them orders. You know, like take the loot back to the truck or interact with a button or a door. But as it stands, if you've got AI teammates, they're literally just extra guns and nothing else. If you play with random people online, there is no voice chat, which is strange. It's an obvious missing feature. There is a text chat, and you can point stuff out with a notify button. Playing along with friends is where this game shines. It's so fun just sneaking around with friends or going into a firefight, but playing with random people online, yeah, you can do it, but most of the time they mess up stealth or ignore objectives. Performance wise, I play the game at 1080p at 60 FPS, and the game runs not too great, but not too bad either. One piece of advice I can give you is that it doesn't seem to apply the settings that you change until after you close and restart the game. So until I did that, I had some almost unplayable frame drops. But after that, I only encountered a few frame drops. Just enough frame drops to notice and feel like I'm not having a smooth performance. Graphically, the game looks okay. I mean, that's it. I had the game run at the highest settings and it's not groundbreaking. It's not amazing, but it's not bad either. It's the perfect example of acceptable graphics. Overall, Payday 3 is great but has some major issues which I hope are all just tied to launch. As of right now, I give the game an 8 out of 10. If they can get rid of the always online requirements and the required Nebula account, fix the matchmaking and server issues, then that would increase the score. That's all from me for today, so thank you for watching and stay awesome.